How y'all doing? Welcome to another video in this first week of 2022. And today I just wanted to talk a little about, I don't know, they call it work-life balance. I'm not sure that's the greatest phrase. We need to come up with something different. That's just being overused. But let me get these off because that way you don't have to look at the blue screen the whole time there. But so for me, a typical day does not really have any forced balance. And if we're going to use balance, I don't think you can force balance. I think balance, if you ever look at a tightrope walker, they don't force things. They kind of just adjust. And matter of fact, I would think you'd have to be careful. You start forcing things, you're going to be falling off that tightrope. So in life, we all have our personal lives and our work lives, and I think there's other aspects to each of those, of course, but I would suggest that at least think about it not so compartmentalized, right? For me, this has really helped. This has really helped when I haven't compartmentalized so much stuff. Now, it is true, I've said before, I haven't done many videos, but I know I've said in the last couple, at least once, that I do keep a pretty organized day, and my schedule is pretty tight. So if I say on the schedule, if it says I'm doing something, then I'm doing that. But I don't want to be too rigid. Now, I don't know, it depends on y'all's, situation. For me, I'm a father, I'm a husband, and I've got, my wife and I have 7 children, 5 girls, 2 boys, ranging ages from 8 to 19. So anything and everything will come up in a given week. So I got to be ready to, for that ebb and flow of life with regards to them, with regards to my wife. I have to, be ready to move. I can't be too rigid on my schedule, but I also, when I write that schedule on Saturdays for the coming week, and what I mean by that is I get real detailed on Saturdays, whereas I write a general schedule for the month based on what projects we're doing. And then, of course, I look at the whole year like I did in December. But on Saturdays, I go really in detail on every hour. But that said, that's mainly to communicate to my family, when I'm really on a deep dive, when I'm really in work and I can't be disturbed. But I'm always ready for an emergency. I don't have an open door policy, but I am ready to break away. I mean, because if my 8-year-old daughter needs me, that's more important. And I think that's where balance can't be forced. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. I would urge you to consider that the people around you will respect your time, your loved ones, your family, your friends, and just let it happen naturally. This has really helped me, is when I just let things happen naturally. You don't force it. You don't try to I want to say this. You want to make sure that everybody knows what's happening in your life, in your work life, but it's so connected to your personal life, right? So I don't like to put them in separate baskets so much. And I know most of y'all, or at least you're hoping to work from home. I do that. Although sometimes I work from a cafe, or I'll work from really anywhere I want to. Go to a restaurant with my wife and do some work there if we just want to get away and it's during work hours. So that's another thing I use to keep things from stagnating. If I'm having, just a brain freeze, so to speak, I just can't get through something. And I guess that's the wrong term, right? Brain freeze. Brain freeze is when you drink like a Slurpee, and now that was a bad use of vocabulary there. Writer's block. Would that be it? Writer's block? Yeah, writer's block. For me, because I'm doing a lot of writing often, and also just thinking, I'll move. One thing that helps me, now I'm kind of segueing here, but one thing that helps me, and this is related to just work-life balance, is that I don't structure things so much that I have to stay in one place. And I'm sure you all do this, but it's really helped me a lot to consider, okay, I can get up at any point and just walk out into the garden. I can go out on one of the patios. I can move to different places in the house where I have a workstation set up, or I just have a place I like to kick back, and it helps with thinking. Same thing with cafes. At least for me, I love to go to cafes, certain cafes downtown. And one day I'll have to take you to one or two of them. And I don't know, that really helps. But getting back to work-life balance, I really don't push it. I don't force it. I don't try to get it done in a certain way. I do have my schedule and I stick to it the best I can. And if something messes it up at all, I just keep going. I don't backtrack and do something. Now, a typical day for me is I wake up around 6:15 a.m. and then I start with prayer. I don't meditate. I guess if you want to call that meditation, but I pray, and then off to the races. And I work really hard until, and there may be a couple conversations in there with my wife and children, but I work really hard until 11:30, and that's when I have brunch. And then after that, I'm back at it, and I take a little break at 3. I eat again at 4. And here in Mexico, we have the main meal between 2 and 4. If you probably have heard of a siesta, right? Well, that's a real thing. And that's when the eating happens, the main meal. But mine's a little later than that, usually around 4-ish to 4:30. And then things start to slow down for me a little bit with regards to work. The family comes into play more, and kick back a bit. But I also have times at night where it's just my wife and I, hanging out, and she's reading and I'm reading, and it's usually something related to work, right? Or I'm listening to Audible, things like that. So I pretty much let things, I know I've said this over and over, but try to let it happen naturally. And don't stress so much about it. Some people, I know, some of my friends, it's just, they've got to be working. And if anything gets in the way, it really stresses them. And I'm like, dude, just relax, man, relax. I mean, you're gonna get it done. No, when you see your schedule, yeah, it's serious. I'm gonna get that done today. Whatever items are on your list or on your schedule. But really, if something pulls you away from it, yes, it has to be important. And I would say family is important. So to me, that's work-life balance. So same thing, if you're with your family, and there can be signs, signals that can show you you're off balance a bit. Like one for me is when I see someone, a husband who is with his family. It could be at a restaurant or, just at a cafe, but he's just constantly on the phone. Now, granted, I don't know his schedule necessarily. Maybe that's a work hour and he just took him out, but for him. But I would say for yourself, if you have loved ones you live with, when it's their time, it's their time. And if you're going to the cell phone, if you're going to a tablet, that might be a sign that you're off balance a bit. Same thing with the work. If you're at work and you have a certain person that's constantly texting you or actually entering your office, and that would be a sign you've got an imbalance. Okay, that's disorder. Okay, so you need to address those, but I think there's natural ways to address them, like where you're at and the structures you play. But the most important one for me is communication. Telling everybody exactly what I'm doing when, and sometimes that's on a daily basis, but it's always at least minimum on a weekly basis. All right? So anyway, to think more about this, we need to come up with another term, work-life balance. I think it's overused, but I'm sure we all understand what we're talking about. Yeah, that's about all I wanted to talk about. So anyway, I hope this video is helpful, and I look forward to making some more here as we get through the year. Yeah, so see you in the next video. God bless.